Welcome, my fellow Leo kindreds, both longtime solar warriors and those freshly stumbling in, wide-eyed and wondering if that random 1111 on your grocery receipt actually means something. Spoiler alert, it does. And if you found yourself here on Golden Fortune Leo, I can promise you this isn't your typical zodiac fluff. This is a space where astrology, psychology, and a dash of Buddhist wisdom meet over tea, argue a little, and then meditate about it. Whether you're a chosen one just now waking up to the frequency, or a seasoned light bringer needing a reminder, consider this your cosmic pit stop. The universe is not throwing these signs at you for decoration. It's spiritual GPS, and honey, it's recalculating. Let's start where spirit always begins, with a number. 111 or 1111. Depending on how dramatic your higher self is feeling. This isn't coincidence. This is divine alignment wrapped in binary code. When I say spirit is trying to get your attention, I'm not talking about some gentle whisper in a dream. I'm talking full volume, angelic Morse code, flashing lights, synchronicities, and yes, even parking tickets. You're not losing it. You're being called. And trust me, for the chosen ones, this is exactly how it starts. First the signs, then the shifts. Buckle up. Now let's talk about the Posy card. There may be someone in your circle who needs your support right now. But before you jump into savior mode, ask yourself, am I helping or am I enabling? Being a Leo means your heart is 5 times bigger than average, but even gold runs low if you're constantly pouring it out. You can love someone without lighting yourself on fire to keep them warm. Loving boundaries are a thing. Use them. Then there's the sticky one, blind loyalty. And whew, is that a tough pill for fixed signs like us? I get it. Once you're in, you're all in. But spirit is holding up a red flag here. Loyalty without discernment? That's not nobility. That's spiritual codependency in a glittery costume. It's time to take the loyalty cape off and actually look at who you're flying with. Not everyone deserves front row access to your energy field. So if you've been noticing signs, feeling the nudge, or waking up at exactly 3:33 like your body is running on spirit Wi-Fi, you're not alone, and you're definitely not imagining things. What you're feeling is real. What you're seeing is guided. And what's coming next? That part is entirely up to how bravely you answer the call. Welcome to your realignment. Welcome to Golden Fortune Leo. Let's shine, but smarter this time. If you've been feeling like life's suddenly gone sideways, like your footing is a little unstable, your routines aren't sticking, or the things that once made perfect sense now feel like mismatched socks, you're not broken. You're in a timeline shift. And no, this isn't new age word salad, it's the soul level version of updating your operating system. That weird buzzing in your chest? That's not caffeine. That's your higher self booting up in the background while your ego desperately clutches yesterday's to-do list. I've been studying the intersections of astrology, psychology, and spiritual awakenings for decades, and let me tell you, this stage is messy. Gloriously, hilariously messy. You think you're spiraling, but what's actually happening is that your spirit is building a new foundation where the old one no longer serves. It's less like a soft awakening and more like the universe gently turning your life upside down and whispering, trust the process. Enter, the Sun card, the most radiant, in-your-face reminder that your life force didn't come here to dim. The Sun is not some polite guest in the tarot. It kicks the door down and says, hey, remember who the hell you are. And spoiler, you are not just a passive observer of light. You are the light. You're not here to chase joy, you generate it. And if you've been playing small, hiding in the spiritual shadows, the Sun is your cosmic permission slip to take up space like the celestial lion you are. Imagine plugging yourself back into your own power source, no adapters needed. That's the kind of spiritual charge we're talking about here. But hold on before you go galloping off into the light like some kind of awakened gazelle. Spirit wants you to slow your sparkle. That's where the Four of Swords and the Ace of Pentacles come in. These two cards are basically the cosmic version of a weighted blanket and a garden trowel. The message? Rest. Breathe. Ground yourself. The universe is literally handing you a seed of abundance right now, something tangible, rooted, and potentially life-changing. But here's the catch, you can't plant anything meaningful while sprinting around like a caffeinated squirrel hopped up on existential dread. Trust me, I've tried. Real magic requires stillness, patience, and the radical act of doing less so that you can receive more. So if your world feels like it's shifting beneath your feet, it is. But it's shifting to make room for something much bigger than what you've been settling for. Just remember, you're not here to hustle the light. You're here to embody it. And that starts with letting the new timeline arrive, without trying to micromanage the sunrise. Let's talk about those moments when 1111 keeps showing up on your clock like it's trying to flirt with you. That's not just your digital display being cute, it's your soul calling collect. And spoiler, ignoring it won't make it stop. In spiritual psychology, we call this a realignment trigger, a sacred prompt to step off autopilot and start actually driving your life. If you've been floating through your days like a cosmic zombie, scrolling, stressing, repeating, it's time to snap out of it and come home to yourself. And no, that doesn't mean booking a spa day in Sedona, though I wouldn't stop you. It means returning to your breath, your truth, your energy. The inner you, not the performing you for the internet version. You're not a robot. You're a soul with Wi-Fi. Now, let's talk tarot, not as some mystical entertainment, but as a mirror to your subconscious. Watching a reading isn't a passive experience. It's an activation. When you engage with the imagery, let your imagination interpret the symbols, and feel into what resonates. Congrats, you're not just absorbing information. You're working out your intuitive muscle. And trust me, that muscle grows faster than any overpriced Awaken Your Psychic Powers in 7 Days course. Tarot is less about fortune-telling and more about soul dialogue. It's your higher self leaving you visual post-it notes. And finally, let's get honest about your inner circle. Yes, even your spiritual brunch crew. Not all energy is meant to stay. Some people are co-creators of your growth. Others are energetic vampires disguised as concerned friends. Do a vibe check. Who leaves you lit up, and who leaves you low-key exhausted? This is your invitation to do some spiritual spring cleaning. Less vacuuming, more boundaries. Sometimes the most powerful form of self-care is a lovingly delivered no thanks followed by a graceful unfollow. Your energy is your currency, spend it wisely. You ever find yourself suddenly remembering that one retreat you went on years ago, the one where you meditated next to a eucalyptus tree, cried under the full moon, or maybe had a weirdly profound conversation with a stranger who smelled faintly of patchouli? And now, years later, something clicks. The energy of it ripples back like a delayed spiritual ping. That's not nostalgia, darling. That's activation. For many of us, especially those quietly waking up to the chosen one path, this is how sacred memory returns. It's like your soul downloaded the file ages ago, but only now is your system updated enough to read it. And when it finally loads, woo! You feel it in your bones. Welcome to the ripple effect of your awakening. During one of my meditations, yes, the kind where you're half floating, half wondering if you left the stove on, Spirit hit me with an image, a crystal prism catching sunlight and breaking it into a rainbow. That wasn't just a Pinterest-worthy visual. That was a full-on cosmic mic drop. Each ray represented a part of me, my joy, my fear, my creativity, my shadow. And it reminded me, we're not meant to be one thing. You are a living spectrum, not a grayscale ghost ticking boxes in someone else's system. If you've been feeling boxed in by routine, career, or relationships that dim your colors, consider this your rainbow revival. Now, let's talk about something far less glamorous but deeply necessary: relationship clutter. And no, I'm not just talking exes who still text you up at 2 a.m. I'm talking about emotional deadweight, the kind we carry in the name of love, loyalty, or guilt. If you're constantly absorbing other people's chaos and calling it compassion, you're not helping them evolve. You're just clogging your own energetic plumbing. It's time to drop the martyr act. The universe didn't call you here to be drained, it called you to lead. And leadership doesn't look like exhaustion. It looks like discernment. So bless them, release them, and for the love of your nervous system, reclaim your bandwidth. Let's have a real moment here. If your nervous system feels like it's doing jazz hands 24/7, like you're running on iced coffee, ambition, and just a dash of existential dread, it's probably not alignment. It's just adrenaline. And while hustle culture might sell you the idea that speed equals success, the cosmos begs to differ. Even stars, those burning, celestial giants, take eons to become what they are. They rest between supernovas. They don't panic their way to brilliance. So if your energy feels like a squirrel on espresso, take that as a cue. Sit down. Breathe. You're not behind. You're just tired. Now, let's talk about this idea of pressure. Somewhere along the way, we bought into the myth that we have to break down to break through. That we have to be crushed like coal to become diamonds. But here's the cosmic truth: you already are the diamond. You're not some lump waiting for the universe to stomp you into sparkle. You're already luminous. You've just forgotten how to let the light leak out. And trust me, the cracks in your story, that's where the soul shines through. Your weirdness, your wounds, your wild dreams, they're not liabilities. They're prisms. Let your joy be contagious, your authenticity loud, and your path sacredly your own. And while we're realigning, let's talk about response. Because you can't control what life throws at you: astrological transits, unpredictable people, global nonsense, but you can control how you respond. That's your power. That's where your free will lives. Sometimes it looks like catching the curveball with a smile. Sometimes it means ducking and walking away. Not everything requires your reaction. Conscious alignment is knowing when to engage, when to retreat, and when to pour a glass of tea and just observe the chaos like a wise old monk watching the fish swim by. You're not here to react to life. You're here to meet it with grace and maybe a little sass. Let's talk about a few of the less glamorous symptoms of spiritual misalignment: insomnia that hits like clockwork at 3 a.m., emotional waves that come out of nowhere, and a nervous system that's operating like someone installed a fire alarm in your chest. These aren't random. They're not just stress. They are sacred alerts, your body's way of saying, "Hey, soul, we're out of sync." You can't light up the world if your internal circuits are fried. Light workers, healers, empaths, we often forget we're human first, mystics second. And here's a truth I wish I'd learned 20 years ago: even lighthouses need maintenance. They might shine bright, but they don't run 24/7 without someone checking the bulb. That brings me to one of my favorite metaphors of all time: the lighthouse. You, my friend, are not meant to chase ships. You are the beacon. That means you stand in your truth, rooted and radiant, while others find their way to you. You don't need to flash brighter for attention. You don't need to flicker for validation. And you absolutely don't need everyone to get you. You're not Wi-Fi. Your purpose isn't to connect with everyone, it's to remain lit for the ones who are truly meant to arrive. But in order to be that light, you've got to unplug now and then. If the chatter of the world is louder than the voice inside you, it's time to pull back. Solitude isn't punishment. It's prescription. Especially for chosen ones, the ones awakening, carrying codes, holding space. You weren't built for constant noise. You were built for clarity. And clarity doesn't yell. It whispers. And just in case you've forgotten, you are being seen. Even when no one's double tapping your content or sliding into your DMs, someone out there feels your energy. Your authenticity is loud. Your light is working even when you don't see the ripple. Keep shining. Keep still. Someone's world is better just because you exist. Let's get one thing straight right now, you are not broken. You are blooming. And no, that's not just some poetic fluff designed to make you feel better while you cry into your oat milk latte. It's a spiritual fact. What feels like falling apart is actually a soft unfolding. That tender place inside you? That's where your divine feminine lives, not in perfection or productivity, but in presence. You are not fragile. You are precious. And that softness you've maybe been told to hide? It's not your weakness, it's your superpower. This is your season to step out of the armor, let the petals open, and own your light without apology. You're not here to shrink to fit the room. You're here to light it up. And please, for the love of your higher self, let joy lead. Joy isn't some bonus prize you earn after suffering. Joy is the entree, not the side dish. If it makes your heart beat louder or your hips sway in the kitchen for no reason, follow it. Laughing till your face hurts, singing off-key, dancing barefoot in your living room, those are sacred acts of spiritual alignment. Don't wait for a permission slip from the universe. Joy is your compass. Which brings us to the grand opening energy that's humming beneath the surface right now. You're not in prep mode anymore. You're in launch mode, even if it still feels quiet. That little seed you planted with hope and half a plan? It's breaking through the soil. What you've been nurturing in silence is about to get loud. Whether it's your voice, your vision, or your soul-driven business, it's ready. And so are you. Speaking of businesses, if you've found yourself lately hoarding crystals, brewing herbal teas like you're the village apothecary, or low-key mapping out a holistic skincare line, that's not a midlife whim, it's guidance. Spirit could be nudging you toward a purpose-driven path that feels more aligned with your soul than your resume. Don't brush it off. The world needs more grounded mystics and intuitive entrepreneurs. And finally, let's talk forgiveness. Not the fluffy kind that just means suppress and move on. I'm talking about the kind that liberates your nervous system. Guilt? That's emotional quicksand. Forgiveness isn't a favor you do for someone else. It's a jailbreak for you. And spoiler, a lot of what you're carrying isn't even yours. Want peace? Let it go. Unhook from old contracts that say you have to suffer to be good. You don't. You just have to be honest, open, and willing to bloom even in messy soil. Let's talk about the sacred art of letting go, not the kind you do by scrolling past your ex's Instagram and pretending you're fine, but the kind that sets your soul free. Real healing begins where honesty meets intention, and that's why I always recommend journaling as a spiritual practice. Not for Instagram aesthetics or cute pens, though I won't stop you, but because it creates a portal between your conscious mind and your higher self. So I'll ask you 3 deceptively simple questions. Answer them honestly, even if your hand shakes a little. 1. What would a letter of forgiveness from you say? 2. What would you write to someone you forgive? 3. What must you let go of to heal? And no, you don't have to send those letters. Write them. Burn them. Breathe freer. You're not here to carry every emotional souvenir from your past. You're here to travel light and live loud. Now, let's talk angel numbers. If 1221 has been showing up for you, this is your cosmic nudge. Spirit isn't asking for perfection, it's asking for movement. You don't need to have all your ducks in a row. Heck, you don't even need ducks. You just need a little courage to take the next step. Work with what's already in your hands. The dream is already inside you, it's just waiting for you to stop doubting it. And if you've made it this far into the reading, first of all, thank you. But more importantly, know this, you're not just here to fit in. You're here to wake up. If something stirred in you today, that wasn't the caffeine. That was your higher self saying, yes. That. More of that. You're not just watching a tarot video. You're answering your soul's own call to return to truth. So to all my bold, brilliant Leo souls, enjoy your life. Seriously. Bask in the moment. Laugh too loud. Dance barefoot. Spoil yourself with sunshine, movement, and joy. You are not too much. You are the exact amount of light this world needs. And if no one has told you today, you're the miracle. If this message resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Like it. Share it with your pride. Subscribe to Golden Fortune Leo, where we don't just decode astrology, we live it, with heart, humor, and a whole lot of soul.